Friends, I watched the Telugu version of KANNAPPA. Thanks to the movie makers for roping in Prabhas, superstar Prabhas, for an important role, friends. Friends, KANNAPPA is a multi-starrer, but me, you, almost everybody were waiting for one person to appear on the screen in the movie. That was superstar Prabhas. That shows the popularity of Prabhas as a superstar, his charisma, his swag, how much people love him. And friends, believe me, in the theatre, even Vishnu Manchu, who is playing the role of Kannappa, did not get the welcome, such a welcome from the crowd as did Prabhas get. Once Akshay Kumar, playing the role of Lord Shiva, calls Rudra, and when we get a glimpse of the eyes of Prabhas, people started shouting and hooting for Prabhas, friends. And from that particular point, 15 to 20 minutes he owns the screen with such a grace as Rudra, friends. Terrifically written role for Prabhas. And the chemistry between Prabhas and Vishnu Manchu, watch out for that. Clearly, friends, I would like to classify Kannappa as the movie as pre-Prabhas entry and post-Prabhas entry. Pre-Prabhas entry, friends, it's a tiresome watch. I'm not telling it is a boring watch. It has some elements which keep you entertained, which keeps you waiting, because you want the story of the Kannappa which you know, which will come in the second half towards the end of the movie, and you are also waiting for Prabhas entry. So it is little underwhelming. The first 2 hours, 10 minutes of the movie until Prabhas appears on the screen, the movie is underwhelming. Not boring, but underwhelming. Not boring because the story shows the journey graph of Tinnudu. So that is Kannappa himself. The previous name was Tinnudu. He is a tribal leader. He is a warrior. So the first half shows the introduction of Tinnudu, his childhood, his conflict with God, what threat his tribe has from an unknown enemy, multiple tribes coming together, his conflict with the tribes, and then a Lalitan episode. Even after the interval of the movie, friends, there is a big action episode. And then we have the entry of Prabhas as Rudra. And then that particular point, friends, changes the total configuration of the movie and story, friends. And again, post Prabhas entry, that particular part of movie, 1 hour movie, I would like to divide that particular part into the transition of Tinnudu from a non-believer to believer, and the climax, the closure, the transformation of Tinnudu into Kannappa. Second, thanks to the movie makers for writing those moments beautifully, friends. The last 15 minutes literally gives you goosebumps. That is why you are waiting to know the story of how Tinnudu became Kannappa. Not that much connected to the first half of the movie, that is 2 to 2 hours, 15 minutes of the movie. I literally did not know how I got emotionally and devotionally connected to the movie once Prabhas appears on the screen, friends. So these two parts look like totally different movies, friends. The story of Tinnudu, underwhelming, yet keeps you in the waiting game. The story of the transformation of Tinnudu from a non-believer to believer, very, very interesting. And the last closure, the 15 minutes where you can see the transformation of Tinnudu into Kannappa. That's tremendous closure. So the last 1 hour of the movie is really good, friends, if you can sacrifice those first 2 hours. If you would ignore that particular part of the movie, where there is a lot of build-up of tribal story, romance, and a lot more things. The last 1 hour is worth watching. Not because of the presentation. Ignore the technicalities in the movie. Ignore the VFX, CGI, cinematography, everything. I was just immersed in the content. That particular 1 hour of the movie after Prabhas appears connected me emotionally and devotionally to the movie. I guess you too will feel the same when you watch the movie, friends. And coming to the characters of the movie, Akshay Kumar as Lord Shiva looks simply superb and awesome. The blue color of the Neelakanta should have been minimized. Kajal Agrawal as Goddess Parvati is looking awesome and divine. I felt the movie maker should have put some money in designing the Kailasa, friends. That is an important and integral part of the movie. Mohan Babu Garu gets a small role. He has done justice to his role. Powerful dialogue delivery. Mohanlal sir, Lalitan, has a small cameo, but that character should have been written in a better way. And watch for the lady Preeti Mukundan, friends. She not only steals the show, especially in the romantic scenes with Vishnu Manchu. She looks much better than Vishnu Manchu in her expressions. The eyes, the face, the body language. Even as a warrior, Preeti Mukundan literally looks pretty. Awesome character, surprise character, watch out for her. And then coming to the man himself, Kannappa, Vishnu Manchu. He looked convincing in many frames, friends. As a warrior, yes. In romance, decent, but he was more convincing as Kannappa in the transformative zone, where the transformation from non-believer to believer is happening, where the transformation from Tinnudu to Kannappa is happening. That Bhakti Rasa he has brought in properly, friends. His dialogue delivery is good. Watch out for that scene where he has a conflict with his father. Brilliant performance by Vishnu Manchu. And among all, Prabhas shines the brightest. And what is negative of the movie? Plenty of things, friends. 3 hours? Why do you need 3 hours for this movie? Why do you need 2 hours 15 minutes to build up the story? 45 minutes editing should have done proper justice to the movie, friends. The pacing should have been fast. The storytelling of the first half should have been brilliant. The conflict between Tinnudu and God, what conflict he has been shown, but that should have been elaborated time and again in the first half, because that is very important for the movie. The conflict should be established. The war sequences and choreographies could have been much better. Of course, there is only one major episode. VFX and CGI definitely needed a big budget, friends. They have compromised there. Such movies definitely needs very good VFX and CGI, which is conveniently missing. Cinematography is good, but the set designing again takes a beating. The entire story is happening on big grasslands. Where is the tribe? Set up for the tribe. Where is that village? And the costumes, friends. Many costumes look ultra lavish, modernized. And the makeup, friends, too much tattooing. Every actor looks similar. I also felt Lalatan's episode should have been written in a much proper way. It needed yet another 10 minutes proper establishment. Good CGI and VFX could have also made the post-Prabhas entry part and the Kannappa part, the closure, look more devotional and more appealing. Even in the last 1 hour part, friends, you will connect to the story. You will connect to the content because of the devotional part of the storytelling, not to the characters and technicalities. One thing I forgot to mention in the positives, friends, good music and good background score. Final verdict, friends. Kannappa is not a bad movie as being criticized by the critics. It is definitely a decent one-time watch. Only thing is you need to ignore the first 2 hours. If historical and mythological movies is your genre, you have to definitely watch this movie, at least for the last 1 hour. Good attempt, good on paper, but faltered in the execution part. For the last 1 hour of the movie, to which I emotionally and devotionally got connected, I would end up my video not rating this movie, but just by chanting Hara Hara Mahadev, Om Namah Shivaya. Thanks for watching my video. If you loved my video, you can like, share and subscribe to my channel. I'll catch up with you all in my next video with yet another movie review. Until then, do take care. Goodbye. Namaste.